Bring up the visual. This morning, I received authorization to share this highly sensitive material from Sword Headquarters. Until very recently, it was the top secret location of the Vision's corpse.
When was this?
9 days ago, Maximoff stormed our facility, stole the Vision's body, and resurrected him.
But that's in direct violation of Section 36B of the Sokovia Accords.
And the Vision's own living will.
He didn't want to be anybody's weapon.
Maximoff, in her grief, disregarded his wishes.
Hey everybody, this is PD from the Spinner Rack, and today I want to do a quick video that's related to Wandavision, which would be the story called Vision Quest. Now, Vision Quest was supposedly a 5-part story that actually continued later. John Byrne did the first 4 parts, then the 5th part came later in issue 50. But the key issues here, because in Wandavision you don't really need to know, not much has happened that reveals most of the stuff, but there was one bit in episode 5 of Wandavision that had a scene where Wanda was going in and trying to take the Vision's parts, so Vision's, whatever was left of Vision, she was going to take it, right? So I want to get to this story because this has some key points that will relate to some of the scenes that are in WandaVision, episode 5. So in this one, which the issue is called One of Our Androids is Missing. Now the Avengers, up to this point, had 2 members that were sort of android or synthezoid, a Vision of synthezoid, and Jessica was a robot or android. That sort of thing. Later, Human Torch would be. I won't necessarily read this issue, but Human Torch would be another one of the androids that was one of the Avengers. So that's where this title comes from, where the Vision can't be found. And you see the opening splash page with Scarlet Witch kind of looking for Vision. We're by John Byrne and also by Mike Macklin doing the inking. Very strong inking on the first 3 issues. And they reveal what happens to Vision. I don't want to get too much into it because the cover really tells most of the story. The question is who. So if we go to question is who, we get to the end because they find out they can't find where the Vision is. And ultimately, let's stop playing games. He's gone from the database. There's no trace of Vision. And we find out it was Mockingbird. Right? And Mockingbird is back. Now, this is one of the interesting parts of the story. I'm going to give you one tidbit of the story that's here. I just revealed that it was Mockingbird who helped take away the Vision. But at the same time, you have this reaction. You have Hawkeye losing it. And the other Avengers kind of trying to figure out what happened and why. Why would she do something like that? And she says she's been had. So they basically get into the story and talk about a story called Dangerous Vision, where Vision kind of took over the computers of the world. And what else? I'll leave it on this nice panel here, right? So basically, well, it's getting into too much. Basically, the governments of the world took the Vision away, and they needed to handle him because he took over the world computers, and it was a worldwide decision that if he joined back with the Avengers and connected to their high-profile computers, he could do this again. Right? So we're not going to get into much of this. They figure out where he's at. And the Avengers will make way. And Mockingbird at this point feels kind of wronged. So she's kind of taking action. So this is the part why I brought you here. This is the ultimate part of why you're here and what we're here to see. Now, we've seen a bit of a scene where we see parts of Vision on these tables. Now, this is Disney having their $1 billion properties, and they put, a little bit of money into it. Here's a comic book with basically page rate, writer rate, and royalties if you sell well. And nope, you don't want to see the X-Men and Alpha Flight and New Mutants. We go to, we have this page here. Now if we go here, this is a multi-million-dollar page here of the Vision being stripped apart. It's just dramatic as anything. One of the toughest pages. And this is going in reverse. Whereas Neil Adams had Ant-Man stroll through the body, this is, the Vision being taken apart. It's a powerful scene. It's the layout is just perfect. This table where they're just trying to, they're siphoning out any bit of information that's in him and stripping him clean and stripped him of his emotions. Everything is gone. Now, this is the issue I have with the Wandavision is that it wasn't the little bit we saw wasn't as visual. It should have been the opening scene in Wandavision where Wanda comes in, sees this, but they also know if we saw Vision sprawled out like this, we would have flipped out, right? But they've been saying that the Vision is dead. And this is a little thing that's really bothersome because we get to the next issue, we'll explain everything else, right? But we have this. It would have been just amazing if Marvel and Disney Plus had sort of redone this scene on camera, having Vision sort of sprawled out. And this whole idea that Vision had a living will, all this other stuff, but they're doing experiments on his body. That doesn't make any sense to me. So we've gotten through all of that. I guess I can leave these here, right? I can leave these guys here. We're going to part 3, right? And then in part 3, we have it even worse. Where Vision's, even his smile has been taken apart. Everything has been stripped of him. Just because he had this momentary error, which he was very sad about, but the government wanted to take action. You have to look at those Roger Stern Avengers issue to see what happened here. But whereas he died in Infinity War, and this is the government taking action, and then Vision is taken apart, right? And then as they start to piece the printing on this was kind of iffy. So you have all this cool inking, but it's kind of, for some reason, it's falling apart. And right here, this is another key scene where Hank Pym is saying, I strolled through him, but ultimately, he's not going to be the same. I can do my best, but putting them back together is, and see how Scarlet Witch, how simple she is to ask them to put them back together. This is what they do. They put them back together when they fought Count Nefaria in Avengers of issue 166. And they put, Reed Richards helped put Vision back together back in Avengers 233. So you have this, they're just figuring out the story, a little more dramatic stuff. And some more a subplot. And here they start taking Vision's Vision back to the Avengers compound, right? Scarlet Witch, so you see, Wonder Man is taking this stuff back to the compound. There's stuff going on with the kids. Remember the kids? We got the kids here, and the kids are disappearing. This is a bit that you didn't do in the movie, but this is something that you can connect to if you read the Avengers miniseries, right? The Vision and Scarlet Witch miniseries. So at some point, 2 days later, Hank Pym has put the Vision back together, right? So this shows you what the Avengers usually do. They put together, he's purely defensive, he's on the attack, and he's, beating up the Avengers, and they're able to stop him. And then this is where they get into some of the stuff that Vision did that led to this. That even the West Coast Avengers was his idea. So ultimately it leads to this, right? This would ultimately, as I said, would lead to the original Human Torch coming back. But that's the story. That's right here. This issue, To Rescue the Vision, has a very dramatic scene, which I wish they were able to film correctly in Wandavision. And they should have started the story. They shouldn't have introduced this in episode 5. Started with this dramatic thing of Wanda doing all her stuff, her going in and grabbing Vision, and then cut to Westville, which is this magical place. And then we already have our dramatic thing where we're sitting back and we're dealing with her stuck in this sitcom. But, I'm not the filmmaker. So, Spinner Rack out.